Welcome back to Social Club. We went early this week. Ronald Koeman was sacked and we broke the news ourselves. Rory broke it, didn't you?
I broke it in the office, but I wasn't invited into the video.
No, didn't make it.
I'm pretty sure everyone knew, otherwise they wouldn't have come on our stream.
Exactly. Very true.
So we didn't really break any news. Commenting on news that had broken.
Done?
Yeah.
Good. Flav's here, you might notice that. Rory's here from CFC Fan TV and Nikki is here from West Ham Fan TV. We've just had a chat with Nikki about the plight of West Ham and that will be going out tomorrow. A social club on Tuesday, so you can enjoy that. One thing that we want to tell you is that we are very, very pleased and proud to have an association with the charity CALM, which is the Campaign Against Living Miserably. So I just want to read this out so I get this right. So it's tragic that suicide is the single biggest killer of men under the age of 45. It's also avoidable. So if you're having a rough time, CALM's helpline and web chat are open from 5 p.m. to midnight every single day. Got a link in the description and we just want to give them a shout out at the start of each social club because it's lads coming together and talking about their feelings about their clubs, so you can do the same if you need to do that. It's Ask the Club time, so get your questions in on the comments. Adam's on the comments, so he's going to send them through to me. If you want to get to the front of the queue, you can do that by following us on Twitter and getting your questions in there. Let's start with Daddy Ings at Klopp.com. In all seriousness, did the big pitch play a part in Liverpool's loss? Seemed like every press failed and every rebound fell into space where a Spurs player was.
I mean, Spurs have probably got a better understanding of the dimensions than Liverpool had, but I don't think the size of the pitch is the reason why they were seconds for every ball, or perhaps we were a bit fortunate in some instances, but you know that isn't about the pitch dimensions. And look, there's no doubt it took some while for us getting used to.
Do you feel like that's happening now? Do you feel like you're kind of, it's 2 wins on the spin, great win yesterday, winning 4-1 like that.
Yeah.
Do you think it could turn completely full circle and you could be like awesome at home?
Well, we were awesome against Dortmund when we won 3-1 as well. There's a way to go yet. The Bournemouth performance wasn't fantastic. We got over the line, they had a couple of decent chances as well. Liverpool, I feel like we're getting used to Wembley. It's kind of alright. I still want to get the hell out of there as soon as possible. I just think the game against Liverpool was more about how well Pochettino played Klopp's tactics. He saw that essentially Klopp and Liverpool's Klopp has struggled to break down teams that refuse to kind of come out in any real fashion. And Spurs sat back and let Liverpool have the ball and hit them on counter-attack after counter-attack. And given the frailties that Liverpool have at the back, it was easy for us to exploit at times. And we did well to finish the ball 4 times. But none of that really is to do anything to do with the pitch. It doesn't help when you're playing a high liner.
The punter says, does Klopp's likability mean that he's much less likely to face criticism? And how long before that stops?
Well, yes. It definitely means that. He was the man that they were desperate for. He's the man that they got, and he's the man that they now feel that they have to love. And I feel like he gets a massive pass. I don't quite understand it, but I think he gets away with it because Dortmund were good about 5 years ago, and therefore people let swallow an awful lot.
I think they do. Like you said, they feel like they have to love him. I think they generally do love him. They love his.
They have
character.
no choice but to love him now, though, because he was the man, wasn't he? He was the man. He was the man with the keys. He was the man they were desperate for. It felt like it was a coming together of like a great club and a great man. It was the perfect storm.
Yeah.
It had to work. It was destined to work, and it isn't.
It may still work.
The only actual difference between last year really is that against those smaller sides, last year they weren't winning those games either, but they were picking up points against the top teams. This year they got pumped by Man City. They've only got a draw against United, and they've got pumped by Spurs.
Yeah, there's problems at Liverpool. There's no doubt that there's problems there. I don't quite know where that fault lies. I don't know enough about the structure of the club to know whether Klopp needs to take responsibility for not buying a centre half, or whether that's at a higher level. If it's Klopp's responsibility, then it's a major problem, and he could potentially be sacked off the back of his ineptitude. If it wasn't his fault, then perhaps he should leave because he's got a board that isn't supporting him. But ultimately, I think that there's a real problem there.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we was linked with Klopp a couple of years ago, and I turned my nose up at him a little bit because at the time, when he was with Dortmund, he was struggling.
To be fair,
they were in the Champions League final the year before.
They was in the Champions League final the year before, but at the time they was like near the bottom of the league.
Well, they were bottom of the league.
Yeah.
For a while, yeah.
He got them out of it.
He got them out of it, but he put them in it. You know what I mean? It wasn't someone else that come along. He does get a pass, yeah. Look, I could have told you that they needed a centre half 2 years ago, and they haven't done anything about that.
Yeah.
Like Dejan Lovren he's a good defender at times, but he makes the most mistakes of anyone I've ever seen at centre half. And at Clavan. Did he sign Clavan this year?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah. I think
he's just not a good footballer. He's just not a good defender.
Seamus Hart said Dejan Lovren is taking 5 painkillers. Knows the exact number. 5 painkillers to get through matches. Why is this never mentioned when his own fans are destroying him after?
It was mentioned in the commentary yesterday.
I think whether that's the case or not, and I like the fact that he's prepared to play with what sounds like one leg for his club, and it's nice that he's prepared to put his body on the line. But they shouldn't be in a situation where they have to play into players.
That's a great point.
And the other thing to remember here, I was annoyingly down at Selhurst Park last week. The fellow who played centre half for them, Sacco, was unplayable. Absolutely fantastic.
He was when he was on loan.
It was so good. Like, he walks into that Liverpool team. He absolutely changes the complete dynamic.
But there was a fallout between the two manager and the player.
I know, but you have to either replace him or rectify the relationship.
They tried to replace him with Van Dijk, didn't they? They tried to get him in, and they did try, and it went all the way. And Van Dijk also said, like, I want out the club, transfer request a lot. But it doesn't matter how you try and spin it, they fail to get that player in, and
definitely.
you get no reward from nearly signing a player.
Very true. But are you better off waiting to get Van Dijk in January and don't waste a load of money on another centre back, or just get that other centre back who's 75%?
You always need two, mate.
Well, as it turns out, the first half of their season wasn't nearly as good as it could have been if Van Dijk had been bought. So you're essentially giving up after the season, or you're at a disadvantage. I think the problems defensively won't be solved by Van Dijk signing.
Okay.
There's bigger issues there. Yeah.
Right. Let's couple of comments from YouTube. Jack Richmond, do you think Pochettino could do the same as Pep with the same resources, or Pep do as well as Poch with Poch's resources?
What?
So basically, Pep's got all the money, Pochettino hasn't. Pochettino's doing great, so is Pep. But could Pochettino do as well as Pep with all the money? Yeah. And could Pep do as well as Pochettino?
Is that the best question we had?
That's a great question. I think that's a cracking question.
It is a good question. I understand it. Look, you can only go by what Pochettino's done previously in the building the club in his own image from nothing. Ultimately, I know Spurs, big club, Southampton, big club, and whatnot. But he's really about, let me take what I've got here, have a look at it, and then we'll build from the youth.
Well, let's go to a wider question then. Sorry, go on. I'm staying with you.
And you're out. It's like the X Factor. You get buzzed out.
I'm boring you, am I, Jeff?
No, because it's a wider point.
For a sentence.
What's the wider point?
I'm to a wider question.
You're boring me. So Barney, at Barney the Donut, is Pochettino the best manager in the league compared to the checkbook managers like Pep and Jose? He does so well with such little cash.
Hasn't won anything though, is he?
No, he hasn't won anything.
I think, look, he hasn't won anything. Obviously, that's important. A league title, FA Cup, going far in the Champions League is really important to him. But if you ask any other club, any other team supporters of any other club, apart from perhaps Man City's, they'd want him.
Mate, it's incomparable. You can't compare.
Would you take Pochettino over Conte right now?
No, of course not. You can't. Why not? Here's for why. You can't compare a manager like Jose Mourinho, who won the treble in Italy or back-to-back leagues with Chelsea, with a man who hasn't won a treble. This is mental. This is like comparing John Stones with Paolo Maldini. You can't compare a man who's won nothing with a man who's won everything and gone, but if he had the same amount, that's nonsense.
But you can tell that Pochettino's made massive strides with that squad.
Pochettino's name isn't mentioned around the likes of Mourinho, Guardiola or Conte. Until when Pochettino's won 10 trophies, we'll have a conversation in that bracket. But he's doing him a disservice.
So you're saying you can't answer the question if they're all given the same squad, which one would do the best?
No, because you're given the same squad, you achieve the same squad. You're not all given a squad. The reason that Jose Mourinho has a very privileged squad is because he's earned the right to manage at the highest level of club. He did that when he was manager of Porto and won a Champions League. Well, he earned that right. Pochettino hasn't earned that right.
You could ask that question though, that would Mourinho have been able to do with Tottenham what Pochettino has? remembering how bad we were.
But this is the kind of this is like comparing somebody in EastEnders with somebody who is in Broadway. It's insignificant.
I love that was your analogy.
Someone, a geezer in EastEnders with a bloke who's Iago at the Globe. You can't compare them.
No idea what that means.
I think,
Nicky, what do you think? You're a bit more neutral than these two. Which manager? If you could have any manager, and you might see him.
I'll have a village. I'll have a bin bag.
Would you have Conte or Pochettino?
Or Pep or Jose or whoever.
A man who won a hat trick. The question is, would you have a man who won a hat trick of Scudettos
No, that's not what
in
I'm
a row,
asking.
or would you have a man who's never won a trophy?
I would take Pochettino because
And he's suited very well at West Ham.
because
he's done that trophy.
we have got the same sort of resources that Spurs had. We haven't got the resources that Roman Abramovich has got. He's done a very good job of what he's got, and let's be honest, he's about a season away from winning trophies, if that.
That was a case a few seasons ago there as well.
I don't believe. I think
I sense an element of bias here, Rory.
No. I honestly
bias,
do.
yeah.
I honestly do. It's
What a shame. Look,
what's happened?
Halloween.
Oh,
I mean, look, fireworks is soon.
How do I fix that?
I honestly do. He's got
That's fair.
people firing on all cylinders for Spurs. I mean, they're destroying teams, top teams as well. Conte wouldn't be able to come in West Ham play. Last 5 minutes, he'd walk out himself. Honestly, he would.
Him and Julian Dix.
Yeah,
At it.
Gone.
Jamie at Jamie2899. Could Newcastle, West Ham, Leicester, and Everton challenge the top six if Staveley buys Newcastle and the others bring in top quality managers?
No.
Staveley's not buying Newcastle either.
It's a lot.
Is it not?
And that's a fact.
Yeah?
How do you know that?
Heard it here first.
Trust me.
Trust him, right.
Trust me.
Friends in high places. That's it, so I gotcha. Could they? I mean, yeah, they could. Everton, the best place to challenge the top six out of all of those, I guess, because of the size of that club. But yeah, sort of if woulda, coulda, there's a lot of talent coming into 4 football clubs. The likelihood is one of them might get it right. And it's so difficult to get the managers, team, owners all right on the same page.
You've seen with Everton the jump to try and get a sort of platform where you go, okay, right now we'll try and even get into the top six. It is a big gulf there, so it's difficult.
Manager is so key, getting the right manager, good manager.
RSTM, who is the worst current manager in the Premier League tactics-wise?
Seven Village. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Straight on that one.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Why?
Because you don't know what he's doing.
Right.
He's got a
Give me a
clue.
bit more than that.
He doesn't know how to change a game. He can't look at a game and perceive what's going on a pitch and change it in reflection to that. He's got a plan, and that is it. It stays as that. Whether we win, lose, or draw, we could be getting pumped 5-0. He wouldn't change his tactics.
Do you agree?
I think.
I guess it's about being
demonstrated the point perfectly there. It's very difficult for anyone else to argue with that.
I tell you, he's probably the best at this stage. Silva at Watford. To do what he's doing with that team is unbelievable. We a lot of us talked about it before the season started. You know, he was unlucky. You know, Chelsea ran out in 4-2 winners in the end, but he's done well pretty much everything apart from the drubbing he got at Man City. I think. Apart from that game.
Oh yeah, they were very unlucky against Chelsea. I mean, they were very unlucky not to win. Yes, massively. We got out of jail. I have no idea how we got 3 points, let alone like if we'd got 1, you'd have walked out and gone, God, we got away with that.
And what's so impressive about it?
Well, we were a shambles. I mean, that's important to acknowledge. First of all, we weren't very good at all.
Got it.
But
shambles.
They controlled the midfield. They realised that the way that we play with Fabregas positioned in a 2, it doesn't work. Fabregas in a 3. If you've got Kante, Bakayoko, Fabregas will control the tempo of the game, create chance after chance, and be one of our most valuable players. You put him in a 2, and you ask him to do his fair share of the defensive duties. And he can't really handle it. And the Watford midfield were overrunning us every time they got the ball. And it was very astute from their manager to make sure that was where the game was played. Like you had Tom Cleverley doing what Cesc Fabregas was meant to be doing.
Right.
Like he was doing, it was all going the other way. It was Cleverley picking the ball up, looking around, spraying it, finding the perfect incisive ball, and Fabregas kind of like chasing the ball headlessly, trying to stop him, but couldn't.
It shows him when you haven't got Kante there again.
You know, you're never going to...
So we identify the weakness and attack the weakness.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what Savin Bilic can't do. He can't do that.
Man City, Dylan Taylor, I think it's probably be our last one. Dylan Taylor at Man United, 97NI, probably Northern Ireland. Will Man City be, maybe, will Northern Ireland,
Sherlock here.
North Islington, will Man City be invincible this season, and are Tottenham the only challengers?
No, they will not be invincible.
And no, Tottenham aren't.
I think they could be invincible.
They won't be invincible.
Easily.
No.
They are so much better than any team in this league.
Agreed, but it's not.
So much better.
Yeah.
They will win the point. They win the league by 10 points.
I don't think we ever. It's very important to remember how impressive and difficult it is to be invincible. That's why that Arsenal team that did it should be held in such high esteem. Like the Chelsea team that actually finished with more points than that team.
I knew that was coming. I can't remember.
Still lost the game. I mean, you've got to remember, you're going to play every single game you play in the Premier League is so difficult. We're going to go into February. City are going to play away at the Bernabeu on a Wednesday, away at Old Trafford, and then away somewhere else in the week. It's so difficult. The fact to think they won't slip up once is very optimistic.
They are incredible. They look fantastic. And while obviously they 11 games on the bounce, they won last season before coming to Tottenham. They look so much more impressive the way they're dismantling teams this season. They could go the whole season. It's such a difficult thing to do. It's so hard. And I hate to say it, Arsenal's that team that actually did that were incredible. In a time where football's weaker, I should add.
Also, it was the second best achievement in Premier League history.
Behind 100 points or something for Chelsea.
Only the 95, mate.
Right, okay. Right, so cheers for that.
Are Spurs the challengers? Are they the only challengers?
No, not the only challengers. Chelsea are going to come back. Man United, they Sam keeps going on about upstairs in the office, said about 18 times a day. If they'd have won against Huddersfield, that would have been their best ever start to a season. Again, shows you the strength of the Premier League now. Spurs will be in there, I think, and I think obviously Chelsea and Man United will push them, but it's hard to say anything else based on what we've seen so far. It's got to be Man City to lose, really.
Okay. So there you go. Volley. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Volley's an app that Bull Street are on. Loads of original content on there. It's a bit like Instagram, but it's just football gold. So go check that out. Go follow Bull Street whilst you're there. One last thing I did want to do. Bull Street North last week. They were able to sort of have a laugh at Arsenal and Paul Merson, bits and pieces like that. But over the weekend, London 9, Merseyside 3.
I can't celebrate Arsenal's.
No, you can't do that. But we would just like to just have a...
I stand solid with the Scousers here. I'm very upset.
Are you not having it?
No, absolutely not.
I think we need to have one moment. Look, this is the 1 week that they've had an absolute stinker. They've lost their manager. Mate, got something over them whilst it's on Bull Street South.
My football weekend ended at 3 o'clock. Chelsea's game was over by 3 o'clock. I went Scouse after that.
For the purpose of...
For the purpose of this, do I have to be part of it?
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah. So let's just, if we can, we'll just have a moment for Merseyside. That's it. I just wanted to acknowledge it. They're quite quick to dig us out, Bull Street South. What about them? All right.
I feel another football match coming on soon.
I know, mate. That needs to happen. Actually.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Well,
Bull Street North, do you fancy it? Paul mentioned you have to play in goal. And you have to take all goal kicks.
Yeah, with all our ringers now.
She's not ringers, are they?
No, sorry,
part of the family. They're all upstairs, buzzing away.
We work in production.
Yeah, we work in production. That's Social Club for this week. We hope you've enjoyed it. Check out the Ronald Koeman video. And tomorrow we've got, well, it might be today now, depending on what it is. Check out the West Ham video with Nikki from West Ham Fan TV. Go subscribe to CFC Fan TV. Check out Flav's Fighting Cock podcast. And most importantly, subscribe to Bull Street. We will see you next week on Social Club up north.